I'm going to be showing you different ways to Christmas gift wrap. Now, if you are anything like me, you kind of make a proper kind of ordeal of it. Kind of put your Christmas films on, get a nice drink, and you sit down with all your presents, but sometimes it can get a little bit boring, and if you're quite creative, you might want to do a little bit more, and if you're one of those really annoying people that wants to get your gift out on Christmas Day and for everyone to go at the wrapping, then you're going to really enjoy this video, because I am one of those people. I always feel like if the wrapping looks nice, it doesn't really matter what the present's like underneath. So here are a few of the ideas I really wanted to share with you. I love all of them and I'm going to be doing them all this year, and I'm really excited to see how you guys also recreate this. The first one is chalkboard wrapping paper. Now, this is definitely something I had never considered until I was browsing online at wrapping paper and I came across this, and I felt like it was quite a quick and easy solution for a creative person to get a little bit more arty. You can use a chalk pen, which I find a little easier than an actual piece of chalk, and you can either decide to draw little illustrations. It really depends how far you want to go with it. All I've done is written the kind of gift message on the front, which I think looks quite cute. I've then used a little bit of brown string and a teeny tiny copper wire bauble on here as well. And I feel like these would be really useful for not only presents, but things like wreaths, or if you like to do a lot of DIY around Christmas time. The only thing I will say about chalkboard wrapping paper is it's really hard to actually wrap. It's very thick, which means it's very difficult for it to actually look quite neat when you're putting it around a present. I'm sure there are some of you out there that can do it a hell of a lot better than I did, but it's also a bit tricky to stick down too, so I'm thinking double-sided sticky tape will probably be your best friend for this option. Okay, this next one is definitely for if you have a little bit more time or you've got a couple of people in mind who you have very, very special presents for. This is what I like to call the copper spray and doilies gift wrap. Basically, for this one, I used brown paper. I pretty much used brown paper throughout the entirety of this video because I feel like with brown paper you can do a lot more with the kind of aesthetic of it, because brown paper allows you to get a little bit more creative. I feel like most people have doilies somewhere in their house. You can get these in baking shops like Lakeland or lots of little like hobby craft type places, and all I did was, using a copper spray, I held down a couple of different doily designs and I sprayed over them to kind of give this really cool stenciled effect, and then I stuck some new doilies in other corners that weren't stenciled. So as you can see, it gives this really cute effect. It also means that the doilies you used as the stencil can then be used on another present as well, because they look amazing and all coppery. You can also use different coloured sprays. Obviously I was going to go for the copper because I love copper a lot, but I feel like doilies are amazing stencils and it just looks quite delicate and intricate, and it just looks really pretty, especially on brown paper. I then used this really adorable string, this brown string. It actually has pieces of suede on it and little wooden shapes, like Christmas shapes, and some beads. I got this from not on the high street, but I thought it would be quite nice to show you how you can incorporate something a little bit more fancy over the top. And then I've used raffia, which is this stuff. I love this. Some people don't like it, but I feel like this makes it quite rustic. So I've done a little bow with that, and I popped another little copper bauble on there. And as for the gift tag, I have hung it here, which some people could consider a strange place. You normally have it hanging off the bow, but I felt like it balanced it out quite nicely, and I've used a little chalkboard gift tag, and I got these from Hobbycraft. They weren't even that expensive, and it's a nice way of adding in the chalk without having to try and stick down the really awkward chalk paper. So I really like that, and again, you can do it over the whole thing. I've just done it on the front because I feel like when you sit it under the tree, you're only going to see one side of it, and as much pride as you take in your decorating, the minute you give this to someone, they look at it for 2 seconds and it's in a big pile on the floor. So that is that one. This one is one of my favorites because it's so quick and simple and easy, but it looks really effective, and I feel like most people will be able to do this one on quite a lot of their presents because it doesn't take too much time. And it is quite simply brown paper packages tied up with string and a candy cane, which I just think is so cute and so festive. Most places will be stocking candy canes around this time of year, so it's just, you just kind of want to go out and find a box of them, and all you do is simply, before tying it in a bow, tie in the candy cane right at the last minute. Although I do have to stress that you have to tie it quite tightly, otherwise the candy cane will slip out, which happened quite a few times. Another thing that I quite like to do, which I thought I would mention, is that instead of just having one piece of string around the entirety of the present, it's quite nice to double it up a little bit. So I've done it quite a few times here. I just think it adds a nice touch. Okay, I feel like this is 100% my favourite. It was so quick and so easy, but it just looks really awesome. This is what I like to call the bauble stamp. I bought a stamp online. You can get rubber stamps everywhere. You can go on eBay, on Amazon. I got this one from Not on the High Street. They have some in Hobbycraft. Basically, if you type in Christmas rubber stamp online, there's gonna be 1,000,001 options, which does make me think you could actually go all out and get a couple of different ones and stamp them over it and just make it like a winter wonderland scene. So basically all I did was get my rubber stamp, a little black ink pad, popped it in and popped it all over the brown paper, and I just think it looks really, really good. You could also use different coloured ink. I also had copper, gold and silver, but I think black looks quite effective because of the brown paper. You could do this around the whole package like I have, making sure to do some whole ones, some halfway on, so it looks like it's kind of continued, and you want to make sure you set it to dry because it does stay quite wet for quite a while, and I had black fingers. Also just used a little spotty ribbon and tied that in the middle, and I just love this. Very effective and very cute. I feel like this next one is a little bit more sophisticated, and it is what I like to call the Christmas themed package. So this one has a lot of traditionally Christmassy kind of bits and pieces, like the dried orange, the cinnamon sticks and the teeny tiny pine cones. I've also used butcher's twine or baker's twine, I'm not really sure which one it is, but it's the string that's red and white, kind of like candy canes, and I've popped that on the right hand side. Right. I really like when people tie up presents but keep it to one side. I just think visually it looks quite nice. It also kind of gives it a bit more variation, and it's nice to mix things up every now and then. So to do this, I used string and tied together 2 pieces of cinnamon sticks. I got these from Hobbycraft. I also got the mini pine cones from Hobbycraft, but there are a lot of different places that will sell them, or if you have those in your garden, then you can do that. I actually dried these oranges myself. You can buy them like this, but I kind of wanted to do it. It's something that my mum always used to do, and I actually have a blog post on how I did that, so I'll make sure to leave the link in the description box. And then I kind of tied them all together. It can be a bit fiddly, but basically you want your end goal to be a cluster of Christmas things, which I then just tied onto the baker's twine, and voila! I think it looks quite nice. You could also add some little berries or a piece of holly in there, and I think it would look very, very pretty. So that's kind of a bit more sophisticated, I would say. I think this one is quite nice and kind of simple, but also a bit more sophisticated as well, and I've called this the Christmas Foliage package. For this one, you basically want to use things like holly, mistletoe, even little cut-offs of Christmas tree, something that you can hang here from the brown string, and again, I've put that on the left-hand side. I like this kind of non-symmetrical thing that I've got going on here. Really enjoy it. On this one, I've just got some little red berries just to give it a kind of pop of colour. And then because I had some white feathers that I picked up from Hobbycraft, I decided to spray the tips in the copper spray, and I just think that they look amazing. You could literally line all your feathers and just go over it in like 3 swoops, and you've instantly got something that looks like you've paid a little bit more money for it. Plus, it's really fun to get a bit creative. So I really, really enjoyed that. And that is the finished product. I really like this one. I would say this is up there with top 3. And the last one is again something that's a little bit more creative, might take a little bit more time, and it can be a bit fiddly, but if you have got the time and you like how this looks, then I think you'll enjoy doing it. So again, it's the brown paper, but I've made a little string of bunting out of 3 different types of wrapping paper, and they're all Christmas wrapping paper. The ones I've used here are Cath Kidston. I really, really like their wrapping paper this year. I just thought this is a really nice idea. You know when you're wrapping up presents and you get those really awkward kind of tiny bits of offcut that you can't really use for anything? That's where you can get a bit creative. You could cut out shapes, You can draw around things, maybe do a Christmas tree, or you can do some bunting, because I just think bunting's cute. And if you can make mini bunting on a present, I think that's even cuter. And because I had some glitter spray that I really wanted to use, I actually sprayed that over the entire present. So I think that looks quite nice. And then again, I used my little chalk gift tag, and there you go, finished present. So I hope you guys found this video helpful and it gave you some really great tips. I would love to see you guys getting creative with this. Send me your pictures. My Twitter is @ZosieBeau, and have fun decorating your presents. I think it's one of the many things in the run up to Christmas that's actually really enjoyable. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye!